Hey everybody, back to one of my favorite rations. I don't know why, man. There's just something about these Russian rations that I really enjoy. So this is the last IRP I have, so I'm going to savor this. But right off the bat, it's Army of Russia. It's individual meal, and over here it says not for sale. This one is kind of a menu I don't believe I've had. This is menu number 7. And if you can read this, you can see it's got the option or diet, which is the menu number 1 through 7. Then you've got the kilojoules, kilocalories, the proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And down there at the bottom, if you look, you can see this one is good until November 25th, 2019, which means I need to bust into this thing before it starts wrecking and roasting and getting ripe. Let's get into this bad boy. I'm not hearing anything kind of falling apart, rattling apart, any sugar molecules or grains or whatever coming apart. Man, whoever glued this was not screwing around. Oh, it's got that good musty IRP bread cracker smell. And that is everything out of the nice foil lined box, which you could use this as a bucket for water. And let's see what we have in here. Got 3 of these right off the bat. And these just say it is a fruity drink. You see you got like an apple on there and some cherries or whatever those happen to be. So 3 little fruity drinks. These are like moist towelettes. You use one to clean off your equipment and the other one to clean yourself off. Use your little stove and heating kit. You get 3 spoons, like standard, and a little knife. There could be a fork in here, I don't know, but I definitely know that you get these. Your standard little packet of apple butter. You get some creamer or powdered milk. Here's your multivitamin, little pill. Wow, you hear alligator going to town. She's making the noise tonight. This one is 100 grams of vegetable caviar. This one is some cheese. Take a look at these. This is going to be the lunch meat. And over the years, I started learning a little Russian. This is pashtet, and this one is a pork pashtet or a pork pate. And this one is a beef liver, and it has a little bit of pork pate. And this one is beef meatballs. It should be like some tomato paste. It says some rice in here. That'll be good. This is actually kind of neat. This is that pork belly or that fat. It comes in that big congealed greasy mass. They say people actually eat this just right out of this container, but I can't eat it like that. It's just a little too funky for me. But if you heat this up and you melt down that grease, you warm up this little fat little bits, actually is not bad. And if you're in a cold climate, definitely will help keep you warm. And I'm looking at this, I see this word right here, like a little I hope. I know that's what it sounds like or how we would pronounce it, but I know that's apple. And just shaking this, I know this is going to be like an applesauce or an apple puree. 3 sugars. These are like 20-gram packets of sugar. Is that what these are? Yep, 20 grams. That little R is a Russian G. Some coffee. 2 bags of tea. Some chewing gum. Matches and a striker for our stove. 4 packs of crackers. These are like flour-based crackers, and these are like cracked wheat-based crackers. Yum. A little bar of chocolate. Salt, water purification tablets. And from doing kasha so long, this is rice kasha. I prefer the buckwheat and beef kasha, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? And this is meat with green peas and carrots. Probably going to be beef again. A little packet of pepper. Jeez, man, everybody and their brother getting in touch now. Got a couple napkins. I don't know what that is. It's probably just whoever packed it or whatever. This is a content sheet, lets you know kind of what to have with which meal and how many calories and all that kind of stuff each thing has. Directions on how to use the stove and all that kind of goodies. That's everything out of that except for this one last little paper. And pretty neat what this is, it's showing the date that it was made and the end date for things like the spoons, the stove, the multivitamin, all that kind of stuff. So at least you have a general guideline of when things may go bad. And using this sheet, I've got this all broken down into breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And these items, your gum, salt, pepper, and your stove, you can use that for any of these. Or all of these. And just save a little time, I'm going to go heat this stuff up, and I'm already going to have it sitting on the tray. Okay, now we're back with breakfast. We can see our kasha is nice and warm. See the little rice bits in there. Let's get that out on here. That's 250 incredible grams. You can see those nice, generous chunks of beef. Oh, it's going to be good. And I don't know if you heard it, but there was a crack. I already broke my spoon. That is the major downfall of these rations, is the cutlery. Got my coffee made. Here's our pastete, or our luncheon meat. Let's get in here and give this a try. You can see those bits of rice, those chunks of beef in there, down the hatch. Now, it does have that oiliness to it, but of course, it doesn't have all those preservatives and stuff that a lot of Western, especially U.S. rations have. It is simply rice and stuff packed in grease. I know it sounds disgusting, but man, just the flavors in this are nice and good. Like they use like a beef stock. Absolutely scrumptious. Again, you take one of your crackers as well, and they will use these as a field expedient food shovel as well. And that's pretty good because these crackers are nice and flaky, they're crisp. However, they do have a lot of give on them as well. They're really easy to chew. It's not like those Panzer waffles where you can actually do dental work damage. Look at that lunch meat in there. This pate. Again, all of this is just oil, preservatives, a little bit of grease. It's no big deal. I know some people just love liver. I'm just not one of them. Just that graininess. I would eat it if that's what they had. If I went to somebody's house, yum. Thank you. This is wonderful, but just not for me. Then our little apple jam, apple butter on our cracker. Oh, that's nice and sweet too. You get that heartiness and those carbs of your kasha, your rice and beef kasha, your iron and more protein from your pate. And right here is some of our coffee, which I made it leaded. I put the sugar and the creamer in here, and this is that fruity drink, the apple. It definitely, you can smell apple in here. It's like kind of a semi-thick apple juice. Yep, that apple flavor just pounds through. And instead of artificial sweeteners, it actually has legit sugar in here. And in some European and Asian countries, it is not necessarily a staple, but it is not a big thing or to have chocolate with breakfast to help provide you that little kickstart of energy. And a lot of people say they drink it with their coffee, whether they dunk it in there to soften it up, whatever they need to do to have this chocolate bar to help them get moving. And that really does go together. It really works. And again, if you needed your salt, pepper, whatever, your stove, whatever you needed, water purification tablets for your drinks. And the last thing you have is some gum to help refresh your mouth, your breath after you get done eating. And that's kind of nice because it's like kind of like a fresh savor kind of thing. It's got like a little hint of like liquid in the center and kind of just coats the inside of your mouth. Kind of like a juicy fruit kind of flavor. Very good. And this was breakfast. Okay, everybody, now we are back for lunch. I've got my tea over here steeping, and it is just a black tea right here. Made another one of these little fruit drinks sitting here. Now, this is either a ragu. Well, usually these fruit components are either a ragu or they are the caviar. Now, if they're the caviar, it's usually this eggplant caviar, not like fish roe. Just keep that in mind. This is probably the one thing that I'm probably not really super keen on, but we're going to try it anyway. And then we have our meatballs. These are the beef meatballs. They're usually in like some type of sauce. You can see right here. Looks like you got a little bit of stuff in here. I'll try to decipher what exactly all this is, but I know it is in some tomato sauce. Get all that out of there. And again, this is 250 grams or about 8.8 ounces of beef meatballs. Grab our spoon right off the bat. I don't want to really waste any time while this stuff is nice and hot. This has a consistency of like a meatloaf. Looking inside, you can see it looks like it has some groats or something with like buckwheat. Definitely has a filler. The sauce is nice, smooth, silky, savory too. Has a slight hint of tomato, but it obviously has a stock in here. Ah, it's really tasty. Get those little hints. Slightly salty, but not overly so. Man, these are really good. These are really good. It almost is just kind of like a meatloaf. The meat is just nice and soft, and you start to chew on a little bit. It just kind of just mushes apart. Impregnates your taste buds with love. And it does such a good job because this stuff is usually pretty darn scary. At least for me. This eggplant stuff. And it has like kind of a consistency of like a pudding almost. It's got those vegetable oils in it as well. Doesn't look that appealing. It has that eggplant. If you like eggplant, you will really like this. Eggplant, Brussels sprouts, liver. Those are kind of things that are kind of on my off list. But again, if I was out in the field and this is what I had to eat, that is definitely what I would eat. Now they give you 2 packs of crackers for lunch. So it is up to you how you want to eat them. You can crumble them up and put them in your gravy if you want to thicken it up. That is perfectly cool. And these are a much heartier and earthy version than these. These are like a little more refined to break that flour down. But these things, man, if you like wheat germ and all that, you will enjoy these. These are pretty good. And they're not stale. They don't have any crazy smells coming out of them. We'll try it into here. I know no one does this except for idiots like me, but here we go. Score one for another idiot. It's actually not bad. How odd. Wow, who would have thunk? Try again some of our fruity apple drink. That really does have a nice apple flavor. I mean, it is just a thick apple juice. So you definitely know that it is good for, well, I don't know if it's good for you, but it's probably better than what you would get out of a US MRE. I'd probably say that. Who knows? Man, actually pretty tasty. And the last thing we have here is our black tea. And this is just straight black tea. It doesn't have any sugar in it. But it's nice and warm. Heat up the insides on those cold days. And I know this is probably one of the smaller meals that they have during the day, but nonetheless, it is absolutely delicious. Okay, so I've got this heated up, man. You can look at that. It does look like bacon, but yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get these drinks made up. That stuff heated up, and yeah. And just so you can see what this stuff looks like before it comes out of before I add water to it, it's pretty much like a solid kind of mass. So I'm gonna crumble this up just a second, right over here. Dump it in my cup, and you can see that it legit has actual sugar crystals, everything else, but the problem is getting those things to get these crystals to kind of melt. So we're going to add just a little bit of warm water that we've heated up for our tea, and what that'll help do, it'll help break down those, make them a little more soluble, and we'll just let that sit in there. And I'm just going to stir in here to help break this stuff down. You can see it's starting to break down. So I'll add the rest of our water. And just a quick tip, I caution you to use these pull tabs, because sometimes you'll give it a good tug and these little foil containers, you'll squeeze them and your stuff will end up everywhere. So you can take a knife or just be gentle and use these tabs. Either one, up to you. And I'll pull out our salted port. You can see, man, huge difference. Nice and liquidy, warmed up, gonna make it taste better. And then you have this solid mass. So I'm just gonna keep this on just a little bit of heat, just a little longer while I grab that main. All right, let's grab this. I kind of got a little sneak peek of this, and this is that beef with peas and carrots. The peas look very odd. I don't think I've seen brown peas, but hey, it's what we got. It's what we'll eat. And before these things cool down, let's dig into them. You can see right off the bat, they have huge, generous pieces of beef. I don't really know what kind of quality the beef is, but it all kind of tastes good to me. They got a little bit of everything. Yeah, look at those peas. I would have expected they'd have been a little more green, but it tastes okay. I didn't like fall out of my chair and keel over and die or anything. See, it's got little cubes of even beef fat in here. I'll try to decipher exactly what exactly constitutes this fine supper dinner of ours. And we'll get to the part I know most of you want to know about. Most of you are probably just dying exactly how I am going to like this. Now granted, this has been sitting at room temp for a while. Well, the whole ration has been sitting at room temp for quite a while. So there it is. Just like that, with all of its grease. It's like trying to eat cold, crumbly bacon and some like slime. Well, I think the first time I had it, I was repulsed, maybe even repelled. But this time, I have an open mind. It's not quite so bad. Well, I mean, it's not bad at all. But this way, folks, see, it's glistening. Oh, it's actually kind of hot too. It's glistening with love, care. It's nice and warmed through. Man, it is bloody hot, I will say that. See, all of the grease has melted off. I can't grab it. All right, need a spoon. And you can just see the difference between the two. Heated, yummy goodness. Room temp, gelatinous. Let's give that a go. Oh yeah, that's the way. That's how you do it. That way it's nice and creamy. That little bit of salt comes through. The bacon isn't tough, chewy, or crumbly like it is at room temp. And it just kind of melts in your mouth. Absolutely fabulous. And And I know eating fat kind of like this at night in different cultures goes on a lot in Arctic climates. Like I know Eskimos, they eat seal blubber. Save that stuff for these cold, wintry days. And then again, we have some more pastete. This is the pork pastete, or our pork pate. It's a wee bit dense. And I did save this last pack of crackers because it is the last good stuff I've got. So I did save these from breakfast that we had a day or so ago. So down the hatch with this pork pate. It's creamy, but it is dry. It's kind of hard to explain a dry pate, but there's not a lot of moisture in it. And you get this cracker, it turns into an experience of just trying to get that swallowed down. So we will try some of our apple fruity drink. To assist in that endeavor, I almost wish they would give you a different flavor combination. I understand the philosophy of going like to an all-in-one beverage, but on the last IRPs I've got, you would get like an apple drink or a peach drink or a raspberry drink or blackberry currant. And it would just mix stuff up, which made it a little more pleasant. Then over here we have our cheese. I warmed it slightly. You can see it glistening. Yeah, just one year I decided, hey, I'm going to heat this stuff up. I think it'll be a good idea. And didn't even think about it. Didn't crack the can. Didn't do any of that. And I'm sitting there, and the next thing I know, I hear a loud pop. And what the heck was that? And sure enough, the can is empty. The top is gone. The stove is roaring. And my roof is covered in Russian cheese. Not too bad, but I kid you not, it actually translates, at least by Google anyway, to creamy paste-like sterilized cheese. I kid you not. You can see it right there. Ta-da! Creamy paste-like sterilized cheese. Well, really the last thing to do is take a look at our multivitamin. You take this right before you go to bed. If it will come out, there you go. I tried it. There's not really anything on here that tells you what exactly is in there. So we would take it with our tea. And after our meal is winding down, we would sit back and have our little dessert, which would be this lovely applesauce type thing. It's nice and silky, smooth, almost like baby food consistency. It's so rich, it's not overly sweet. It has a really sharp apple flavor, which is really good. And it just sets the tone for the end of the day. And if for some reason you still needed to have fresh breath or whatever, another bit of gum would be just right. Well, everybody, this was my very last Russian IRP. I'm going to miss these things so much. This was menu number 7. Hopefully someday I will be able to find a way to get these again and shout out them so I can make more great reviews for you guys. With that being said, I will see you all on an upcoming review. Bye.